O ano?
Andito naman ako kahapon eh, no? Kahit
Ay, nagpapakita kahapon eh.
hindi lang ako kita pero nandito with
Dapat
Tito
sumama
Man.
kahapon para ano...
Reunion?
Reunion. Nakuha na lang si Panginoon eh. Oh.
Correct. Pero,
Sabi ni Glenda, si Panginoon nasa likod ni Manny
nasa
Books.
likod daw, sabi ni Ma'am Glenda.
Panginoon talaga, di ba?
Yes. So, Ed, before we go to a very, disturbing video yung nakita natin, na ipapakita natin. Later yan, pero puntahan muna natin yung mga headlines.
And here are some stories we are watching this Tuesday, March 26. Scientist group Agham condemned harassment of Philippine marine scientists during an assessment at sandbars in the West Philippine Sea. The group says China's actions did not only undermine the country's sovereignty, but also impeded efforts to understand and preserve marine ecosystems in the region.
Iloilo City has declared a pertussis. How do I say it, Ed?
Ako kasi pertussis eh.
Pertussis outbreak after...
Sabi na kasi pertussis yung iba eh.
Oo nga. Andito naman tayo.
Pinay ako eh, pertussis.
Pertussis outbreak after recording 7 cases of the infection this year. Quezon City earlier declared a localized outbreak after reporting 23 cases. So far, there are 493 Filipinos nationwide infected by whooping cough. The DOH encourages everyone, including adults, to get vaccinated against the bacterial infection. And ito na po yung balita namin sinasabi. The 3-kilometer-long Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland has collapsed after a cargo ship collided with it. The extent of the damage to the bridge and possible casualties are not clear as of the moment. So before we discuss that unfortunate incident in Baltimore, let's welcome our Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Miss Amy Pamintuan, para kasama siya sa ating usapan ngayon. Hello, Ma'am Amy.
Hi, good afternoon, Jove and Ed.
Okay, so...
Malapit na bakasyon mo, Ed.
Malapit na. One more, after this, isa pang episode. Pero, Ma'am Amy, nakita mo ba yung likod namin? That's the Francis Scott Key Bridge, tama ba?
Yeah. In Baltimore, Maryland. There are two kasi bridges named Francis Scott, the other one's in Washington.
In Washington, D.C.
This one is in
this
Maryland.
one is... At
Baltimore.
ang trivia doon, sino si Francis Scott? Siya ang nagsulat ng Star Spangled Banner.
Can you see?
I can sing it for you, Ed, pero yun yung trivia doon. Pero anyway, ayan. Kayo na pa inaaral ni Ed yan, Ma'am Amy, kung papaanong may domino effect. Although alam natin na posible yun. Pero ito talagang yung buong, what do you call it, truss ba?
It's called a continuous truss bridge. You would notice kasi, teka, hintayin natin mag-reset siya. Okay.
Yun.
Ito yung undamaged na. This is called the truss ng bridge. You'd notice it's made out of triangles eh. Kasi the triangle is probably one of the stronger shapes around. Kasi unbending dapat, hindi nag-change dapat yung angles niyan eh.
Yes.
Like yung square. Ang square with 4 sides, pwede mag-change ang angles niyan.
Yeah.
Lean forward or back. Ang triangle, hindi eh. So that's supposed to make it strong.
Pero the thing is, tinamaan yung isang
you would notice
haligi.
kasi, I think this is the boat eh. Tumama dun sa pillar, and see you, pag tama sa pillar, nag-collapse yung pillar na to, so bumagsak ngayon itong span na ito. Ngayon, pagbagsak ng span na ito, naputol yung bridge. Nung naputol yung bridge, this part became unbalanced.
Nadamay na.
And leans up. And this one
towards another direction. Ma'am Amy, we're getting reports from our subscription sa Associated Press or AP na there are at least a handful, mga 7 daw na nakikita na pwede pang mailigtas dahil sa mga cars na kasama sa bumagsak. So they're trying to rescue itong mga tao na ito na sa kasawiang palad ay nandyan sa bridge nung nag-collapse ito.
Ang sabi ng AP, there were multiple vehicles on the bridge at the time, including one the size of a tractor trailer. Malaki-laki siya. It appears that there are some cargo or retainers hanging from the bridge, creating unsafe and unstable conditions, and that emergency responders are operating
Pero,
cautiously as a result.
bakit daw tumama yung barko doon?
Yan hindi pa malinaw eh.
Yun ang malina.
Lumubog yung barko eh. Teka, that's what
Medyo malawak yung daanan na tubig nung bakit siya tumama.
Oo,
doon?
pwedeng sumentro siya, 'di ba? Pero nandoon siya sa very close to the pillar.
Yes.
let's show
Saka
you.
usually may mga ilaw yan kahit madilim yan
Yeah.
Yes, that's
This is
Usually
the bridge.
lighted yan. At then the ship itself, dapat may ilaw yan na malakas.
si Malawa
So,
ano
bakit
yan
tumama?
Talagang designed siya para pwede pang
Daanan.
kasi ang Baltimore is a harbor harbor
Harbor
to,
city.
at least yung yung city nila proper harbor city siya. So may inner harbor, may outer. Ito nasa outer harbor sila, Ed. At actually, ang mga dumadaan dyan ay usually ay yung mga deliveries at saka yung mga medyo may hazardous daw na mga
Hazardous,
chemicals
yeah.
na dyan dumadaan. Hindi pinapadaan doon sa inner harbor na daanan going to the city.
This is what you call the truss structure.
Yeah.
This is what keeps the bridge up.
Design din na daanan ito, kung tutusin, hindi dapat tama si Ma'am Amy Hindi naman niya kailangan tamaan
Maluwag
yung mga
yan
yan Yeah.
Yeah, pero you can imagine,
Maluwag
pag
lang.
bumagsak itong pillar na ito,
Tuloy-tuloy yan.
kasi ma-unbalance siya This one will tilt up and that one will drop.
Isa pang problema dyan ngayon, Ed, in case you might know, meron bang ganyang klaseng bridge dito sa Pilipinas?
Oo nga, kailangan natin yes, I think so, no, Ed. Yung mga na
Yung
malapit sa
yung
harbor.
bagong gawa doon, di ba?
There are naman. But also kasi this bridge is what, 47 years old?
1977 siya nagawa.
So I don't know if it's been rehabilitated since then. Well, we're actually worse than that pagdating sa rehabilitation ng mga ganyan eh.
That's true.
So that's also an important issue raised by Amy, whether or not we have measures in place to prevent something like this from happening here.
Although in fairness to the DPWH, di ba, in recent years actually nag-rehabilitate nga sila ng bridges. Starting with those in Metro Manila.
Yeah.
Yung over the Pasig. Ewan ko lang yung mga haba natin.
May mga bagong bridges.
Kung
Yung going to Malacanang, hindi ba
doon
trust
nga natin
yun?
nalaman na sabi nila kapag umuuga yung bridge, wag daw tayo mag-aalala kasi talaga daw ganun ang construction ng bridge. Doon natin natutuhan yon. Nung
trust bridge yung sa
natatakot mga
Malacanang.
tao.
Yung going to Malacanang, yung
Sa Ayala.
Malacanang, going to Malacanang na galing sa Ross Boulevard at Quiapo area.
Hindi Ayala Makati. Ayala Avenue Bridge.
The bridge. Parang trust siya kasi yung yung make nung pagkakabit-kabit ng mga bakal doon, right? Yeah.
What you're looking for is something like this, mga triangular shapes that support the bridge.
Yung San Juanico, hindi naman ganyan. Ed, would you know?
Teka, let's pull up San Juanico.
Kasi medyo medyo mahaba. Saka yung bago, yung in-inaugurate na maganda ilaw na, hindi ba?
Isa Cebu,
Recently lang.
Cebu Cordova. Hindi natin sure. Habang pinupull up ni Ed yan, of course, we'll find a Filipino connection dyan. Alam mo yung town dyan sa Baltimore, Ma'am Amy, parang tinatawag nila na parang Filipino community,
Yes.
ay nandoon sila talaga.
Yes.
Parang university town siya Tapos, siyempre, maraming nurses dyan ng mga Pilipino at sinasabi nga na around about 10,000 na yung matuturing na residents na Phil-Am or Filipinos dyan sa Baltimore sa latest nila na census at ito'y karamihan sa kanila nasa Baltimore metropolitan area. Doon nga, sa 1,000.
This one's coming from the website Filipina Architect to San Juanico Bridge. Yeah, merong portion siya na
May
truss
portion of
bridge.
trust Yeah.
But by itself naman, in truss bridge is pretty strong by itself. Of course, depending on other variables. Pero kita mo yung...
Marcos Sierra pa yan,
Yung trussing is both above and below.
Kumbaga, kaya nga nagtatrust, para nga ang kanyang para may daanan talaga yung ilalim na tama ba? Parang yun yung design niya para meron talagang passageway. Right?
Well, yeah, but it's not specifically for passing through. I mean, it's one design like that. But when you say kasi truss bridge, it's a way of keeping the bridge up
Yeah.
with the triangular
Yes.
trusses. Parang suspension bridge. Ang suspension bridge dun sa Golden Gate, I think it's Golden. Ano ba yung suspension bridge? Golden Gate, no? Oh,
San Francisco, yes, Golden Gate.
Ang suspension bridge naman, meron ka mga poste sa taas tapos may kable, and draped downwards like that. Tapos there are cables holding the bridge up.
Yes.
That's a suspension bridge. This one is a truss bridge.
Okay.
Mga girders na ganyan yan.
So ito'y isang developing story, mga kapatid, and we're monitoring AP and Reuters for the yung rescue mission doon sa Baltimore, lalo at nakitaan nga na meron pa silang pwedeng maiahon from para talagang kahit yung yung natamaan na part ng ship, di ba? Para naggiba eh.
Oh, giba talaga.
Diba?
Bumagsak ang pillar niya.
That's true. So,
Well, the thing is kasi this happened 1:30 in the morning Baltimore time eh. So
dear.
so at least morning. I mean, can you imagine if it was rush
Yes.
hour?
Rush hour.
Who do you have on the line? We have Paulo Alcazarin on the line. Paulo, Architect Paulo.
yes. Hi,
Sir,
Paolo.
can you hear us?
Good afternoon, Ed.
Hi, sir. It's good to have you on board. Sir,
We have Amy
Hi, Paolo.
Ren dito. Okay.
Hi, Amy. Hi.
yes, sir. Sir,
Paulo,
have you
hi.
seen the video of what happened sa Baltimore? Yung Francis Scott, paano niya? Francis
Francis
Scott Key
Scott.
Bridge.
Francis Scott Bridge.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you
Yes,
tell us,
yes,
can you
I
tell us
saw
what
it.
kind of a bridge this is? It's called the Continuous Truss Bridge, but what is it exactly, and what makes it tick or work? Or
O
what
bakit
are the
ganyan
cons
yung design?
and the
Bakit
pros?
ganyan
Yeah.
yung design? Yeah.
Yeah, truss bridge is like a framing of steel. So the framing of steel, parang it's like a web of steel, and that's one of the most popular types of bridges. We have a lot of truss bridges in the Philippines.
So we do. Okay.
So, sir, is it a good
Okay.
design to? I mean, is it a reliable design? Is that the right way to put it?
Yes, it's one of the most reliable
Okay.
designs for bridges, but no matter what design approach, whether it's
Pag binangga.
a suspension bridge, a truss bridge, or a cable stay bridge, like the new ones over Cebu and Mactan, all of these bridges depend on proper maintenance to ensure that the structures are performing. So the problem with U.S. infrastructure in the last decade has been the various governments, mostly democratic, have been trying to pass bills to retrofit or to redo a lot of the bridges that have been 30, 40, 50, 60 years old already, and they need to be repaired or retrofitted. So if you do not maintain them properly, they will deteriorate and there's a danger of collapse.
Yeah.
Sir, kita sa video kasi tinamaan ng barko yung pillar. Tapos yung pillar mismo bumigay. The pillar that holds up the trusses. I suppose that's
Well, yes. If you look at the sheer mass of the container ship, it's tens of thousands of tons. I don't know. I don't have the data on how big the ship was, but it's most probably a pilot error.
Yeah.
So the captain steered it wrongly. But most probably, usually that's the case, and it hit one of the supports of the bridge. Of course, the sheer mass of the ship will do damage.
Paulo, in retrofitting a bridge, ano ba yung ginagawa exactly? Ang fino-fortify ba is yung iron ba o yung bakal o yung foundation, yung concrete? Kasi I understand sa Japan, they keep doing that regularly dahil nga earthquake prone sila. Ang alam ko, ang fino-fortify yung concrete portion eh. Paano ginagawa
Yes,
pag nag-fortify ng bridge?
Yes, they use what they call NDT, non-destructive testing. That means it's like a ultrasound for people. They use sound to get an image of what's inside and to see whether there are any fractures inside the concrete. In the steel itself, the problem is of course eventually corrosion. So bridges have to be repainted every few years. So one has to wonder what sort of maintenance regimen our bridges have in terms of both the concrete foundations as well as the steel portions of the bridges in the Philippines.
Sir?
By every few years, ano yung typical na siguro kahit inspection, ano every few years yun? Mga 10 years ba yun? Every 10 years? 5 years?
Yeah, well, of course, it all depends on the protocol of the DPWH. I'm not privy to their maintenance protocol, and I'm not a civil engineer. But definitely, at least every 5 or 10 years, better if it's more often than less often, depending on the size of the bridge. I mean, the Guadalupe Bridge is up for refurbishment and repair because it's already very old.
Yes.
So I believe the DPWH has already a project in line. I was on the river a few months ago and I bumped into some of the Japanese consultants who were assessing the bridge itself.
Sir, yung Guadalupe Bridge is also a truss bridge, di ba? Parang I see the same design eh. Is that correct?
Well, the Guadalupe is a concrete. The vehicular portion is essentially concrete, but the LRT, the train bridge is a truss bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
May ano, di ba? Nakita mo yung ano niya.
Sir,
arc.
one more question, sir. Kasi kapansin ba sir, when you see the video, tumama yung barko doon sa pillar, bumagsak yung pillar. And understandably, bumagsak yung span that's connected to the pillars. Pero yung the other span that is on the other pillar na hindi naman bumagsak, bumagsak din. Was that also expected? Is that a consequence talaga of is it a natural consequence whether or not you maintain the bridge?
Yes, by the nature of the design, there's a long central span, and the vibrations could vary, and the columns may have been, most probably have been affected by the vibration of the shear trauma of the ship hitting that column. It traveled to the other bridge, and once one of the spans collapsed, the whole truck depends on all the sections to keep it together. Bihira it won't stay up if one section goes down. So the whole truck works together to keep the whole bridge intact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't have an isolated. I mean, if it's a very small portion, yes. But since the span itself collapsed, that would have, because they all put against each other to maintain stability.
Yeah.
So if you remove one section, then the forces will conspire to bear upon the remaining columns, so that's babagsak siya.
Before,
Just as an example of what could happen. Our old churches use trusses for the roofs. And what happened in the last few decades is that some of the priests have been replacing the roof with steel trusses which are much lighter. So once the steel trusses are much lighter, it disrupts the original equilibrium of the walls of the fort. And when a slight earthquake happens, it's more prone to collapse because of the lighter roof. Because originally, it was a much heavier roof that bore down on the walls, and the walls were designed to push up. So the moral of the story is always consult with a civil engineer.
Tama.
And the other moral of the story is always test and check up on your infrastructure. So that's part of protocol.
Before we continue with our interview with Paolo, I just want to give you an update from the Associated Press as of 3 a.m. in Baltimore. They interviewed the Director of Communications for the Baltimore Fire Department, si Kevin Cartwright. At si Kevin Cartwright mismo nagsabi na this is a developing mass casualty event. Although they're rescuing people from that rubble or from that disaster area. So actually naitanong ko pero parang nasagot na ni Paolo kung ano mga dapat natin gawin para walang repeat niyan, hindi lang doon, lalo na dito sa atin, diba? So there's a need to check on our bridge. Yes.
But sir,
Well,
yes, sir.
the bridges if I may just a quick comment, our bridges are just like our elevated highways and skyways. So our elevated skyways and highways, they're mostly concrete, but they're still also prone to being compromised if they're not maintained well, or if the earthquake is very strong and we have not looked at shoring them up for the big one. So what will happen? What happened to that bridge? Happened to the elevated highways in Kobe when the earthquake
in
happened
Kobe.
there? Is that a lot of people will lose their lives. Essentially, skyways are dangerous in the first place.
Okay. Ano? Ami, anymore for Paolo?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay na.
Sir, maraming salamat. I know it was a quick call.
Madalian. Talagang kinontak si Paolo agad. Thank you for responding to our call, Paolo.
And thank you for the insights kasi a lot of questions from a lot of people about what happened and whether it can happen here. Thank you, sir. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, Paolo.
So we'll give you more updates. Alam ko ito rin ang chine-chase the story
Let me just show you something.
ng ibang newscast natin.
Something I noticed. Okay. Lights.
So,
Kaya nga eh.
Traffic. There's
See, yan, those are vehicles.
Kaya nga,
Those are
hindi
vehicles.
hindi nakita ng barko, di ba?
Yeah. So sila ngayon yung subject ng rescue na ginagawa ng Baltimore Fire Fire Team,
Dito pa.
Fire Prevention Team. So ayan siya.
But we don't have any news yet as to casualties, yes, or
Yes.
numbers of casualties. I'm sure they're still putting
Madaling
together.
araw kasi doon eh.
Madaling araw tsaka busy pa yung yung Baltimore
Yes.
Fire Department doon sa pag-rescue dahil nakitaan pa nila ng hope na yung mga lumubog doon ay makuha pa.
Masave.
It
Yes.
was a large container ship. Yeah.
Okay, again, for more updates, we'll give you sa mga sa ating ibang mga newscast after this program, especially dito sa One News.
Okay. Sige. Well, let's ask Ami. Ami, ano mga headlines for today?
Inaabangan pa namin yung meeting ni President Marcos with the U.S. Congressional Delegation.
Yes.
At syempre, ang malaking topic is, apart from, syempre yung South China Sea. Kasi nakipag-meeting din siya, of course, we know with the Indian External Affairs Minister who expressed support for the Philippines na exerting its national sovereignty over the West Philippine Sea nga. And dito sa mga nangyayari, yung pagbobomba ng tubig sa civilian ship natin, kakampi natin yung India dyan, kasuporta natin. And I think with about 20 other countries, they expressed support as well for the rule of law. Kaya sabi ng China, gangster daw yan. Mga gangster, daw yan. At pinagpipilitan ng China na pumayag nga daw tayo na tanggalin yung BRP Sierra Madre na yun eh. Kaya ang sinasabi ng gobyerno sa China, sige na nga, ilabas na yung pruweba na pumayag kami.
Yeah, at kung sino yung nagbigay.
Ayan ang namin mga development.
Sino, parang blind item na nga, Ma'am Ami sino or the who daw yung nagbigay ng go signal na yun, ba't di daw masabi-sabi, di ba? Yun yung malaking
Meron
question.
mga kumakalat, sasabihin ko na dito, total parang natanong na natin to dati, di ba sabi nila, parang si Senator Antonio Trillanes daw.
Oo. Nandinay, right?
Ginawa siyang special envoy ni Noy to China. But I think we have to ask him about it.
Yes.
Dahil yun lang naman ang name na lumalabas na nasa-float.
Correct.
Yun lang.
So
kailangan i-clarify pa natin yan.
Yeah. From the New York Times, Singapore flagged vessel struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Yes.
Triggering the collapse.
It's
okay.
This is what it looks like when you normally pass under the bridge.
Ang laki ng
It looks like
It's a massive
Marami nga
bridge.
tayong ganyang bridge, di ba? Marami tayong ganyan eh.
Marami tayong ganyang bridge. That kind, the truss kind.
Kita, marami tayong ganyan.
It's because of the size eh. The
Dalawa
size
lang
kasi
naman yan
requires
eh.
you
Yung,
to build
dalawa lang
trusses.
naman yan, yung ganyang arko, saka yung pabaliktad na arko, di
Yes,
ba?
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. The shorter
Naman
bridges
yung
kasi
nakakita natin.
are made out of concrete.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have more on the topic of the issue with China sa pagbabalik natin, Ed and Ma'am Ami, but you're still watching Storycon on One News. We just need to pause for a quick break. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
As to what form or shape yung tactics will be, we'll just see. But as I said, there are other options. There are other vessels in the Navy inventory that can be used to resupply Sierra Madre. And I think ang makikita natin dito in the next few weeks, days or few weeks would be a revision of the tactics. I think yung pulse ng Filipino public medyo napupuno na eh. Medyo na siya eh, parang napupuno na yung PC niya. And I think at some point it will ask government or ask our authorities, hanggang dyan na lang ba yan? Hanggang do we still continue taking the hit, yung water cannon, and have our personnel exposed to significant injury? So I think yung sentiment ng Filipino public, general public, will more or less compel government to look at different innovative ways of trying to revise yung tactics nila. The most obvious option would be to use a helicopter actually to resupply Sierra Madre. Okay? And that is in the inventory of the Navy that can be used. Okay? The other one would be light craft that has a lower draft that can actually penetrate yung shoal, yung dangerous areas part of the shoal, yung mababaw. There are also assault boats that can speed up to around 30 to 40 knots, but it requires a mothership. Okay? And it can carry 25 people at the minimum or significant number of supplies. Okay? That will be difficult to intercept. Okay? So those are some types of some of the inventories in the Navy's fleet that can be employed actually. There's always that possibility of escalation. But remember, we're now going to use military assets, military resources. Iba na yung dynamics nun as compared to using a supply boat that has the persona of a civilian vessel. Okay. Iba na yung iba na yung dynamics nun.
And that was retired Rear Admiral Romel Ong, former Navy Vice Commander of the Philippine Navy, now teaching, now a professor of practice at the Ateneo de Manila University. Let's bring in Security Analyst Chester Cabalsa. Professor Cabalsa also teaches at NDCP, National Defense College of the Philippines. Sir, magandang hapon. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good afternoon, Sir Ed, Sir Jove, and Ma'am Amy.
Yes, sir. Prof, well, you just heard si retired Vice Admiral Romel Ong
Admiral Ong
talking about yung the possibility na mag-shift ng strategy sa West Philippine Sea resupply missions because of what's been happening. Bugbog sarado na yung mga unaysa natin, bugbog sarado na. What do you think? Are we looking at a change in strategy, or are we pursuing, do you think, the same strategy over and over and over again?
Well, I feel the pulse now of a change in strategy. Pati sa Defense Department, mukhang yun ang direction nila. Just this morning, there was a meeting that I attended. Mukha rin yung curriculum is geared towards war fighting. So most likely, we will see a bolder and stronger strategy coming from the Philippines kasi ito, may military assets na tayo gagamitin.
Sir, can you expound on that? Kasi now we've been using a chartered civilian vessel, which some of us have found a bit unusual or maybe not very practical, because we understand one reason for that is para to de-escalate the situation and not use government-to-government ships. On the other hand, inuupakan nila parati yung chartered. So the question that's always been coming up is, so why are we using a chartered vessel na mukhang pang smuggler? I mean, no offense to the owners of the ship, pero it's a wooden ship and it does look like it doesn't give any impression of officiality.
Okay.
Di ba? So
let's look at the context.
Yes, sir.
Kasi noong 2012, it was Admiral Ong who was an actor doon sa Scarborough Shoal. Diba, natatandaan ninyo, pinadala nila noon is yung gray ship.
Yes, sir.
And after that, we learned from our lesson. So instead of having bringing the gray ship, white ship na lang, which I think gave us also an opportunity to modernize the Coast Guard. Kasi originally ang Coast Guard nasa likod lang yan eh.
Yes, sir.
Secondary actor lang eh, and then they became a frontliner right now. But of course, with the escalation of the conflict and given the apparent tactics of China, yung gray zone tactic nila, and the use of violence, then I think we are transitioning to a higher level of strategy. This time around, baka a mix and combined use of civilian and military assets yung gagamitin natin. And of course, no, I agree dun sa sinasabi ni Admiral Ong, pwedeng gamitin yung air power. Pero yung isa pa natin tinitignan is pwedeng gamitin kasi ng China on how to absorb BRP Sierra Madre using yung submarines nila eh. So wala pa tayong capability doon on how to look at that, no? So I told you in many of my interviews with you na we have to prepare for multi-domain
Yes, sir.
attack. Ito na nga yung ginagawa nila, no? And I think there are good lessons learned around the world, no? From Russia-Ukraine war to Israel-Hamas war, ganyan naman yung ginagawa nila ngayon, multi-domain attack.
Joby, yan.
Mr. Cabalsa, ang problema actually dyan,
Yes,
yung
ma'am.
barkong ginagamit natin kasi wood eh. Wooden siya. Kaya isang blast lang ng water cannon, wasak-wasak na dun sa loob eh. Di ba tayo pwedeng mag-hire na lang ng medyo sturdy kahit civilian ship?
Yeah.
Marami naman tayong ganong mga barko,
Yes.
di ba? Na private din siya. Kung mag-charter tayo, bakit ganyan? Parang malapit-lapit na yan dun sa kategorya ng BRP Sierra Madre. Talagang mawawasak siya eh kapag
Grabe ka
nakita
naman.
ng water cannon.
Tama,
Di ba
tama
pwedeng
po.
yung civilian ship na sturdy, yung kahit yung ganyan din, made of metal, medyo malaki-laki. Hindi basta-basta masisira ng water cannon lang.
Yeah, I agree with you, ma'am, no? Kasi nung 2019, yung Jember bombing, ang nakita natin na gamit na vessel ng militia is yung iron talaga, no? Yung Chinese militia. And I think it goes with the kind of technology na ginagamit ng China talaga. Yung sa atin kasi, kaya wooden, of course, no? Yung lack of funding pa noon. But hopefully, dito sa mga acquisitions natin in the military modernization, ma-realize natin itong mga features na ito na dapat yung bilhin natin sturdy, stronger, at saka yung technologically advanced naman na ironclad talaga yung mga vessels natin.
So, ironclad.
Ironclad.
Saka kapag hindi ba sa tingin ninyo, merong mga suggestion daw na we use air assets na to deliver. Marami ding air assets sa China. In fact, yung nag-monitor dyan sa latest resupply mission, mga helicopter nila ng People's Liberation
Yes, ma'am.
Army. Baka naman doon naman sa area magkaroon ng mga confrontation.
I think tama po kayo doon, no? Hindi lang maritime yung confrontation na nakikita natin. Kasi ang dominant sa lahat ng mga wars na nakikita natin yung sea power. Kasi archipelagic maritime yung issue, yung West Philippine Sea, South China Sea issue. But at the same time, pag nag-external defense ka kasi, territorial defense na ngayon yung strategy natin, gagamitan mo talaga siya ng air power. Yung air power, pwedeng helicopters, warfighting aircraft,
Sure.
pwede rin yung AUV, yung unmanned aerial drones, no?
Yes, Sir Chester.
Naputulata.
Nawala
Yes, po.
yata siya. Nawala siya.
Okay,
Yeah,
In
I'm here,
fact,
po.
Ed, ayan na.
Ed.
Yes, sir.
Nawala siya.
Yeah, I think he's back. Sir, can you hear us, sir?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
hear
sir.
you. I can hear you po.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir,
Ayan na, okay.
yes, sir. Sir, yung am I correct in understanding you as saying na it's about time also that you agree that it's about time that we change the delivery system that we currently are using, which is a chartered civilian vessel, that we should introduce more official vessels in the mix, maybe even the primary vessel in the mix.
Not totally na yung we have to deliver primary vessels kasi nga it was a lessons learned yung nangyari din sa 2012 standoff. Oo, that was the precedent that we should learn. Kaya nga ang ginawa ni China noon, nagpadala rin siya ng Navy, ng green ship niya. Ang gusto sana natin makita, bigger, larger, and stronger yung civilian vessels na gagamitin. But at the same time, more than that is the strategy. Nakita natin dun sa Vietnam War naman na wala naman yan sa sophistication of the technology but how you execute your strategy.
Yes.
No, kaya naging successful din sila, no. So hopefully maging clever pa yung ating mga officials. They have to think of alternative mechanisms on how to address this. Otherwise, uulit-ulit lang tayo dito sa basic crash course na ginagawa ng China Coast Guard and Maritime Militia sa atin. No?
Yes, sir.
Last question ako, Ed, ha? Kasi aside from yung mga tactics sa sea, yung tubig at saka yung laser, Sir Chester, alam mo naman na meron pa isa silang taktika na ginagawa ngayon, especially sa social media, na meron silang mga nilalabas na communications at saka mga memes na parang binabaliktad na parang talagang tayo yung kontrabida dun sa sitwasyon na yun. So how do we counter that? I mean, aside from the fact that people have been reporting yung parang false information na yun, is that enough?
Agree with you, Sir Jove. No? Kaya nga, nagtuturo na rin tayo ng cognitive warfare. At of course, kasama doon yung misinformation and disinformation. Sinasabi ng China recently na nangako tayo sa kanila na tanggalin yung ERP Sierra Madre. Actually, yung may isa pa dyan sa na barko na pinatanggal nila doon sa Scarborough Shoal.
Yes, sir.
Dalawa kasi yung barko na yan So I think what I'm trying to drive at here is that the complexity of the strategy is changing. Hindi na ito yung, although nandun pa rin yung cornerstone ng defense, state to state, pero nag-evolve na yan into different domains, no? May air, sea, land. Minsan gagamitan ka pa ng cyber, hybrid warfare, cognitive warfare. So nagiging complex na. So yung attack mo dapat sophisticated saka complex din. No? So I believe China will do more. No? Knowing that they are watching us, they know that yung ginagamit nilang alibay na we are an ally of the US kaya tayo tinitira, disinformation naman yun no? Hopefully, especially now that the Filipino people have a warm support for the military modernization and territorial defense of the armed forces, alam ko suportado nila tayo sa mga bagong gagawin na estratehiya at tactics ng ating armed forces and the government.
Okay. Sir, maraming salamat, Professor Chester Cabaza, our security and military analyst. Sir, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
sir.
Professor.
Yes, sir. And now let's check on the situation in bus terminals in Pasay City from mobile journalist Evan Trinque. Evan, kumusta ang sitwasyon dyan?
Bakit ngayon may marami-rami na yung mga punta pabor mabiyahe sa kanilang probinsya ngayong araw. And nagtanong tayo kanina, karamihan nga ng mga trips dito ay fully booked na. Kaya nga yung iba ay napilitan na magdagdag.
Evan, saan ka? Exactly. Where are you now?
Bakit nandito ako ngayon sa terminal, sa Victory Liner Terminal dito sa may Pasay City.
Okay.
So karamihan dito ng biyahe ay fully booked na. Kaya nga napilitan yung terminal na magdagdag ng extras na mga
trips.
No, pero ang sabi nila is 24 hours naman daw yung biyahe dito, tuloy-tuloy, and around 30 minutes to 1 hour yung pagitan ng mga biyahe.
Pero siguro ang tanong ng tao dyan, kung ako, iiska po ako sa Storycon ngayon, tatakbo ko dyan para bumiyahe papuntang Bicol, may masasakan pa ba ako o maghintay ako hanggang hating gabi o anong kalakaran?
Bakit ngayon ay so, may mga biyahe naman na hindi pa naman talaga fully booked, no? Yung mga fully booked na biyahe pa lang ay yung papuntang Baguio, Tuguegarao. Tapos yung biyaheng papuntang Zambales naman and Pangasinan ay hindi pa naman daw masyadong puno. Pero expected nila ngayong araw around 3,700 na pasahero yung dumaan dito mismo sa terminal na to. Pero ngayon nga, may nakikita natin, marami pa rin yung taong sumusubok bumili ng ticket ngayong araw.
So may mabibili pang ticket doon sa ibang biyahe. Pero sa ibang biyahe, wala na, sarado ng tindahan. Like Baguio,
Tama
sabi
po,
mo.
Ed.
Hmm.
Tama po, Ed. So may mga biyahe pa rin na pwede ka pang makabili ng ticket. Pero actually, sinabihan rin naman tayo, pwede pa rin naman na makabili ng ticket. Pero chance passenger na lang.
Yeah.
So, try your luck na lang kung gusto mo talagang makauwi. Pero kanina inagustuhan na rin tayo na mas okay doon mag-book online. Para pagdating mo dito,
Sakay ka na lang.
i-claim mo na lang yung ticket mo. And hindi na siya masyadong hassle at di ka napipila ng mahaba.
Okay.
O Jove mo na.
Evan,
Kaya nga, parang may plano
PDEA
yata
nakita
si
ko
Ed
dyan
tumakas.
sa footage mo. Anong ginagawa nila dyan, yung mga PDEA agent?
I'm sorry, paulit ko.
Yung nakita ko dun sa image dyan, yung mga PDEA agent, naka-uniforme sila eh. Anong ginagawa nila?
Hindi
Nasa
wala
footage.
akong kanina napansin. Baka probably as part sila ng security. No, kasi dito may kita natin, hindi lang isa or tatlo yung gwardiya dito. Marami nag-iikot kasi dito na gwardiya. So for bawat pasok ng mga tao, talagang sinicheck nila yung mga bagahe dito bago pumasok sa terminal dito.
Baka may transportation ng drugs na nangyayari. Yung material mo,
Sana hindi.
yung material ata galing ng 5 yung material.
Sa News 5
nakikita mo.
galing.
Okay.
Blood test sa mga driver. Blood test.
Ano yan merong isinagawa na blood test para doon, drug test na rin, para doon sa mga drivers, Ma'am Amy. So yan, yung kaya sila present doon. Anyway, let's
Kasi
thank
kapag yung
our...
mga long haul trip, umiinom sila, di ba?
Yes.
Well, yun yung dati,
Pagising.
umiinom sila ng shabu eh.
Kaya nga dapat, that's true.
Para nga daw magising.
That's true.
Or
Anyway,
paano bang ng intake ng shabu? Anyway, gumagamit sila para nga daw hindi sila makatulog.
Batak yan,
Kaya
batak.
nagkaka-disgrasya naman, yan ang problema.
that's true.
Nadi-disgrasya.
Okay, Ami. Si Evan, pakawalan natin. At baka
Okay,
sasali siya ng bus.
sige.
Yeah.
Evan, maraming salamat.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you,
Ma'am Amy,
Evan,
Ma'am Amy, narinig mo ba sinabi? Gusto nang umalis itong katabi ko para magbakasyon dahil meron daw mga biyahe pa.
Hindi pwede, kahit sa misis ko.
Oo
Sa
nga,
Webes
pwede.
pa yun, sa Webes.
Sa Webes ka pa pwede.
Hindi, siguro yung matindi yung biyahe niya na Wednesday afternoon. Kasi half day yung
next
mga
araw.
government, di ba? Government officers
Half day
So,
pa sila.
dagsaan na
Yeah.
yan, Wednesday.
Correct.
Sobra yan, sobra. And
Anyway,
Thursday, maraming.
sakto naman po sa Semana Santa ang launch ng isa pong proyekto para sa mga overseas Filipino workers. At para po magbigay ng detalye tungkol dyan, ay magbabalita si News 5 correspondent Shaila Francisco. Shaila, ano itong programa na ito?
Jove at naglunsad na yung isang private company na UB Express at yung Overseas Workers Welfare Administration ng 50% discount para sa mga OFW na pabiyahe papunta at paalis dito sa airport. Kailangan lang pumunta doon sa mga bus at mag-register lang. At kung nandun nga yung pangalan nyo, makakakuha na kayo kaagad ng 50% discount. So yung dating nakukuha na 50 hanggang 300 pesos na fare, aabot na lang ng 25 hanggang 150 pesos.
Wow.
Okay. Pero para sa overseas workers lang yan, ha?
Oo, para sa overseas workers lang yan. Ang gusto kasi nung OWA tsaka yung private company, makatulong ma-decongest yung airport. Kasi ang napapansin dito, kahit kukunti yung pasahero, kung napupuno yung airport ng mga kamag-anak at mga kaibigan na sumusundo. So, gusto nila, imbis na dito na magsalubong, doon na doon sa mga terminal or kung saan ibababa yung mga pasahero.
Pinoy system yan eh. Yung buong barangay kasama yung mga aso, tsaka yung kalabaw kasama sa paghatid.
Puno-puno yung jeep, di ba? Yeah. Okay, kamustahin naman natin, Ma'am Amy, kamustahin natin yung foot traffic ngayon dun sa NAIA or kung kamusta yung sitwasyon dyan, Shaila, sa mga binisita mong paliparan natin, kung as expected ba ay marami ang naroong mga kababayan natin at kung merong mga aberya ng flight delays.
Joey, dito sa NAIA Terminal 3, maayos naman yung operasyon nila, no? Pero karaniwan kasi pag ganitong Luna Santo at Martes Santo, mas konti yung pasahero. Kung kukumpara mo bukas, kung kailan gando na yung bukso ng dagsa ng mga pasahero.
Yeah.
Pagdating dun sa cancel or delayed flight, konti lang yung nakita natin. Pero overall, normal naman yung operation ng mga flights nila dito.
Shaila, may report pa rin ba ng mga daga,
Suro.
mga ipis, dyan sa mga terminals natin?
Oo, Ami, yun nga yung inaalala ng ibang mga pasaherong nakausap natin dahil na may mga report nung nakaraang buwan. Yung iba nga natatakot muna umupo or tinitingnan muna nila yung upuan bago umupo. Pero sa inspection ni Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista kahapon tsaka kanina, malinis na naman, sabi niya isolated incident at maya-maya yung paglilinis ng housekeeping. Ang isang inaalala nila, dito kasi particular sa arrival area sa Terminal 3, maraming nakaupo na hindi naman pasahero na possibly na mga nangungontrata doon sa mga pasahero. At usually raw, sila yung nagdudumi doon sa mga upuan. Over the past 2 weeks daw, na-inspeksyon ng International Airport Authority. Kasi sa pinaka-problema nila, yung mga nagdidikit ng bubble gum doon sa ilalim ng mga upuan.
Yun ang
nagawa ng mga bata.
Oo, kaya nga.
Anong gawa ng mga bata yan?
Pero sabi nila baka doon sa ibang mga pasahero. So ang plano talaga dito, kung nakapunta na dito kayo sa arrival area ng Terminal 3, may mga upuan dito, aalisin na siya pagkatapos ng Semana Santa para hindi na rin mag-congest or mag-crowd din sa mga pasahero na uuwi pa lang dito sa Pilipinas.
Okay. So mali lang. Hindi, kumbaga, meron kasi mga kumakalat sa social media na, kung wala kami mauupuan doon sa mga gate. Pero hindi pala yung mga gate ang maapektuhan. Yung mga waiting area sa bago mag-board. Tama? Ay, bago mag-check-in. Tama ba, Shaila?
Sa arrival area yung tatanggalin. So paglabas mo nung pagkakuha mo ng baggage, meron kasi mga upuan doon na mga naghihintay bago ka makalabas doon sa mga base. Yung kung saan kasi susundo ng kamag-anak at kaibigan.
Yes.
Okay. Maraming salamat, News 5 correspondent Shaila Francisco.
Doon sa mga
Thank
bay,
you, Shaila.
sa Terminal 3, pag arrival, sa mga bay, hindi ako umuupo sa mga upuan. Pero meron din yung parang mga semento na
semento, yung may
upuan.
mga halaman.
Yes. Saka kahit tanggalin nyo yung mga silyang yan, talagang yung kultura natin, uupo yan dyan sa sahig.
Ayun na nga.
Alam mo, hindi ko limutan. Tandaan niyo ba nung elementary tayo, ang una mong gagawin pag bagong pasukan,
Check mo
papasok mo yung kamay mo sa ilalim ng desk, mo kung may mga bubble gum.
Na dapat wala na kasi before pumasok, dapat malinis na yun.
Wala naman maglilinis sa ilalim ng desk.
Ngayon sa pader yun, ididikit sa pader.
Yeah. Okay, ito.
Hindi siya
Kung
silya.
malambot pa ba yung bubble gum, matigas na. Ilang taon na ba yung bubble gum?
Baka. Before we go, ito yung nakita ko siyempre mula sa himpila sa kung saan ginagawa ni Ma'am Amy yung kanyang dyaryo no araw-araw. Naglabas sila sa kailang Twitter account or sa X na yung Iloilo City is now under a state of calamity, no. Hindi na lang outbreak.
Yes.
For pertussis.
Calamity.
Pertussis.
Oo. So, yung from dati na less than 10, parang ngayon nasa mga 16 cases na daw ito. At yung confirmed cases, at ito ay from Molo, Haro, Arevalo, and Lapus towns po doon sa Iloilo. Okay, so yan ang kanilang developing story doon.
Okay.
At ang
Check
advice
nila
ng
baka may
DOH
bubble
sa
gum
mga
din.
nagtatravel, yung mga bata daw, pasuotin ng maskara.
Sabi, mag-ano daw?
Yes.
Mask up.
Oo.
Diba? Okay, with that, let's thank our Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Ma'am Amy Pamintuan, for joining Storycon ngayon Tuesday. Sana tomorrow din, last day.
Parang biyernes na, no?
Oo nga. Thank you, Ma'am Amy.
Thank you, Jove and Ed.
Happy weekend.
And mga kapatid, join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Jove Francisco.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.